Alright, so today I'm going to work on building a scraper to grab quarterback historical data. I haven't really looked at this yet, so it's going to be a really rough video. Feel free to jump around. I'll make sure to chop up the video into chapters. And if you're interested in more of this web scraping stuff or model building, things like that, make sure to follow, subscribe, and all that stuff. So right now, if you're a follower of the page, thanks for following over a year and a half now. This is essentially the data pipeline. So all this stuff is where the data comes in for the predictions that we put out. Um, and so here you can see, you feel free to copy this code if you want, but basically this is just code that goes to ESPN and checks the players. So then I can get a table of all the players that are playing this week. Obviously, there are some flags that I have to put in. For example, like these guys are all questionable, and Zach Wilson actually is out. And so I take care of that. What we want to do is we want to have a list of all of these quarterbacks because we want to build out some historical stuff. And we'll go over here and I'll read it in. And actually, I have not changed this yet. And then we can take a look at what QBs looks like. And again, right, it's the exact same thing. Obviously, we have this column here. I don't like how that looks. Run it, and now that column's gone. So we have the columns. I already built out this code. Feel free to copy it if you want. It'll obviously be a little different on your machine, but what it's going to do is it's going to open up a Chrome page with this URL, and then it's going to look at the QB, the 27th row. So I'm looking specifically for Tom Brady, and it'll just input that into the search button. It'll submit it, and then it'll just grab the page source as a beautiful soup file. So a couple things happen here, but I'll just run it so you can see. And again, when I run this, you're not going to be able to see my hands that I'm not doing anything, but I'll just leave the cursor there, but watch the submit button up there. So it types in Tom Brady and goes straight to his page. And then it's going to grab all this data as an HTML, and it's going to quit out of this. And it's all hands-free. I just have a couple of little pauses in there, so anytime you see sleep, that basically just means the computer is pausing and waiting for something to happen, so giving it ample time to grab this stuff. And so now I have this variable called soup. So if I type out soup, bang, it's going to be a lot of data. It's all of the source HTML CSS code. So if I go back to just the Tom Brady page, I'll just pull it up here, Tom Brady. So if I look at this, and let's say, for example, these are 2021 games, I want to go ahead and grab something like this just so I can get these links. We'll go inspect element, and you can see right here, all this stuff is what we have in our soup file now. So what I want to do is find all of Tom Brady's historical stats by game. So I wonder what happens when I click 2000. So I'm going to quickly get out of this. If I click 2000, does that just take me to the year 2000? Yeah, okay. So that's not going to be super helpful. If I do this, it's just going to take me to New England. Yeah, okay. So we're going to have to find some kind of creative workaround here to get all of info. So what we can do, since we have these things, we can look at specifically the team and the year. So let's see, if I go to 2001 and I look at the New England Patriots, it's going to give me, okay, perfect. So it has all these games, and so if I click the box score of each of these games, well, before I do that, let's look at what the link looks like. Right, so you can see here, it's in this format of NWE 2001, right? And so if let me see if I can duplicate this tab, and go back to Tom Brady's page, so you can see it's 2001 NWE, and if I go here and look at the link, 2001 NWE. So what we want to do now is find a way to get these as a link, and obviously this is going to be pretty easy for Tom Brady. It might not even be worth doing these as like a code. So what we're going to do is now we're going to go back to this file. So we don't really need those Tom Brady pages, but what we will do is we'll say, let's make something like years equals, and again, one huge thing, that I'll always recommend when you're coding is if you want to do something quickly and efficiently, just Google it. So I want to do like how to make a list of numbers increment by 1 in Python. Here we go. Probably find something. Yep, this is exactly what I want. So someone wants 11 to 16 because it's Python 3, not Python 2. Duh. So let me go back to here and go list range. Bam. And there you go. So 2001 to 2019, which is what I think Tom Brady played. Yeah, he moved to Tampa Bay in 2020. So what we'll do here is we'll just make it go to 2021. And again, Python has the extra thing at the end, so you got to say if you want to go 2021, you got to write 2022, blah blah blah. So we got that, and now we're gonna do a little for loop. So we're gonna say for year in years. We're gonna say if year is greater than 2019, we'll say team equals TAM, which is Tampa Bay. So we're going to say team equals New England, right? Because if we go back to this guy, we see that's NWE, right? NWE 2001. So now we'll copy this link, and what we'll do is we will say link equals this. We'll put it in quotes. Instead of NWE 2001, what we're going to do is we're going to replace this with a little bit of magic. So this is the team name, so we'll change that to team, which is now either New England or Tampa Bay, and we'll change this to year. So now if I run this code, it's going to go through for year and years, so it's going to go through this whole list, and then it's going to say, it's going to print out the link for that. So let's see what happens if I run this. Oh, because year is a number, we have to change this to string, obviously. So when I run it, now we have all these links so we can test it. So obviously if I click this, we're going to get the same, but let's try like 2015 and see, make sure that that's the right thing. And bang, there it is. Easy. So now we have that. We're also going to check the Tampa Bay one just because that's the only difference. And perfect, it worked. So what we're going to do now is, since all of these links are in the same format, we're going to look at specifically one of them. So we might as well just look at the first one that we already have up here, but I'm going to close this just so it's all in the same place. Let's take a look at it. So now what we want to get is, yeah, we can just grab the passing yards here since we want to build out the forecast for these passing yards, but it also might be beneficial we look at the box score. So for example, this is the first game in 2001 for the Patriots, and they lost to the Bengals. And their scoring info, game info, team stats, and we want to look at passing. So you can see, interesting, right? Because if we just went and grabbed the team statistics, we wouldn't see that Drew Bledsoe was the one who passed in this game, right? So now we want to find when Tom Brady actually stepped in. So we're going to take a look at, if we go back, you can see box score game 2. This is also Bledsoe, but Tom Brady did have some plays here. What we'll actually do first that we have to do, since we want to look through all these box scores, we got to figure out a way to get all these links. So we're going to inspect the element here, take a look at the source code. So you can see, so it looks like class center, box score, word. This is the row, and we're going to look at the center. So we look for the TRs, and then within the TR, we find the TD with center. Let's see if that works. And all of that is within this box. So it's all in the, you can see here, so it's in the table. Sortable stats is the class. So what we're going to do, go back here, and we're going to look at a little bit of beautiful soup. So I'm just going to grab some code that I already used. So we're going to say, let me just find that, cut and paste. So we're going to do all this. And we're going to put this in here. So the URL here is going to be this guy. Change the URL. And we're going to run this, and it's going to grab all that code. So now we have that. So if I type soup, you'll see all the same stuff that's currently in this side here. So I want to look at the stats table. The thing is, this is probably also in the same, see, it is also a sortable stats table. So that's not the end of the world. So if I go soup.find class equals the sortable stats table, what's going to happen is it's going to return that first one. Well, actually return none. Find all empty. Perfect. That is awesome. So this is not exactly what we were hoping for. Sometimes this happens. Just kind of have to deal with it. When the class is not working, we can just look at the tag. So let's see if table works. Let's find all tables. So we can see the first table that comes up is the rankings, team stats and rankings. So if I go back here, team stats and rankings, and what I want to find is the schedule and game results. So if we look at just the 0th one, we're going to find team stats and rankings. So this is all the team stats and ranking stuff. I want to find the next one, so I'll look at 1, and this should be schedule and game results table, which is this. Great. So now if I go back here and inspect that element, we'll be able to find, so it's right here. This is the table that we're looking at, right? And then within table, what we want to find is, first look at T-body. So within that table, we're going to find T-body. And so that's going to get rid of all the, unnecessary stuff that we don't care about, like everything here. So now we're looking just under this T-body tag. So the first thing we would see is the TR tag and the TH class CSK equals 1, whatever those things mean. So we see the TR and we see the CSK equals 1, blah, blah, blah. So we're chilling. This is working fine. So what we want to do now is, within this, again, we're looking for the Boxscore tag. So we're looking at Boxscore. So if we inspect this again, under T-body and under TR, it's under a thing called TD, and it's clearly the 3rd or 4th TD, and we're looking for class center. So I wonder if we can just find the class center. Let's see. Class equals center. Boom, there we go. Boxscore word, and then it has this href, which has this link, and if we take this link and take a look as that as a suffix, so we take that and we do row reference and we put that. Let's see if that will take us to that game, and you can see it does. So what we want to do here is take this as a prefix and go back here, and we're gonna take the href here, because that's what we're looking for. So now we need to find, because this A tag is typically what's used for references in HTML, so we're going to find the A tag, and then we're going to take the href of that. There we go. So now if I say this is the suffix, and then I say print suffix, bang, and we're also going to do this command called strip, which just gets rid of left and right white spaces, just to make sure. And then I also know that I have the print that, so then we have these things. So if I take the suffix and add it to the end, and also take off this thing, plus suffix, bang, now I have this game. But that's good because we found one of them, right? But we want to find all of them. So what we need to do is we need to go back here. We need to go back to this page and figure out a way to get all of these box scores. If I look at the second one, I inspect that element. So you can see the first one was under this TR data row, right? And the second one is under this TR data row 0. So if we go back to here, we're actually going to have to add a couple things. So the first thing we want to do is we change this to .find tr, we'll just comment this out for now. So if you look, it's giving just one of the TRs, so this is one row. And if I change this to all TRs, now we have a list of all these different rows, right? So it starts at CSK equals 1, and this is like week number 1, and this is week number 2. So now we have all these, right? And so if I make this, and I call this like TRs, we'll just call it rows. So those are the rows. And now what we're going to do is we're going to say for row in rows. So we're going to look at each row, and we're going to say print row dot. I'm going to take all this that we already did, put it right here. Let's see what happens. So you can see it went and got all the Boxscore games from every week, and then it threw an error here. And the reason here, so we can look, this is 20th of December is the last thing that worked. So if I look back here, go to the 20th of December. I'm sorry, this is 22nd of December. 2001, 12, 22. I don't know what this zeros at the end mean. Doesn't matter. You can see the last game was December 22nd, and then obviously here there's a bye week. So that threw an error because it's saying that there's no box score there. So we can just easily take care of that. So we're going to say, if row.findClassCenter is not none, and we'll print it, and let's see if that works. So we want to just go ahead and all the way down, just keep adding it. Let's see if that worked, and it did. So now we have every single game from 2001 right here, or at least the links. So then what we also want to do is we want to add the prefix. So we come back here, we grab our prefix, copy, paste it right in there. And now we have every single game that the New England Patriots played in 2001 and the box score of it. So now we have all the links that we need. So this video's already gone on pretty long, but this is a quick intro. In the next video, what we'll do is we'll look at each of these links and we'll grab the info we need from each of them. So for example, we want to be able to look at this page, see whether or not Tom Brady played, and if he did, grab his stats from that game. Again, if you like the content, make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to follow along as we build out this scraper and eventually build out a model for quarterback props. All right, stay tuned, make sure to follow Better Picks, and until next time, I'll catch you later.